Yo, yo, what is going on? People, welcome to Throwdown, episode 196. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'm totally American.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo.
Brian Manjoma. Hey, people.
I'm totally British.
Brett Murdoch.
What's up, everybody?
All right, we got two guests tonight, man. First up, Mr. Riku-san one, the only one.
What to do should we do?
All right, and we haven't had this man on in a minute, man. Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.
Richard, it's been a while.
Yes, what's up, people? And no, I'm no special guest. I've been here before, so
that is true. But you're special because you saw the Meg. You know.
Oh yes. Everybody who wants to see something fun, go watch that movie. But make sure you go at matinee prices.
Oh man, it's like that. So, Rich, man, what's been going on with you lately, man? People haven't, seen you in a little bit. What's been going on in the world of Richard Bailey Jr.?
Oh well, it's been quite a busy. I want to say summer for me. We went to E3. We had a good time at E3, but then I came back to the reality of, well, we need to get back to work. All these contract jobs, so on and so forth. So right now, I've just been busy looking for work, getting my work situation figured out. Yeah, I definitely wanted to come back on here tonight because apparently now all of a sudden there's a lot of gaming news coming out the woodworks.
Yeah, so, I don't know how it was for you guys on the co-op, but July was a rough month for Throwdown, man, for news. It was rough, man. It was crazy.
Well, I fully understand that. We know it seems like after E3, the news dies down until you get closer to the fall with all the games coming out. I actually must apologize for those that have been watching the co-op. We didn't do a show for the last few weeks because I know Gary went to the Overwatch League in New York, the event that they had. But we will be back tomorrow night. So, yeah, there'll be a lot to discuss. But, yeah, I know July was a rough month. But this week, man, there was a shit ton of news that happened this week. So there's a lot to talk about now.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, before we even start, Friday night co-op? That's interesting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I probably should mention this. No, the WrestleCast is not canceled. We are still going to record that show. I know Adam actually is out of town right now. He will be back tomorrow. So that might happen on Saturday. We have to discuss a particular schedule for that. But yeah, Friday night is the new night because we do have a couple of other things we have to record on the weekend now. One show in particular that we record every Sunday for people who are fans of Power. So we don't want to have to be doing multiple podcasts on the same day. So that's why we had to say, okay, we have to make some changes. So, but yeah, co-op will be Fridays starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Dana, who's in the chat room, and she's surprised that WrestleCast is still around. And she's your co-host. That shit is funny, man. But yeah, like you said, we got a lot of news to cover. As a matter of fact, usually we keep the shows to 2 hours. We're going to try to do that tonight, but we may go over tonight. This is serious right now. So without further ado, let's get into it, man. So the first thing is, after many months of waiting, we finally got a gameplay trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2, people. And this is interesting because just yesterday Brett hit me up. He's like, hey, should we talk about that, whether we should be worried or not that we haven't got anything? It's like, dude, trailer's coming. So trailer's here, and I want to get everybody's thoughts, man. You already know mine, but I'll tell you about that later. Actually, Rich, what do you think about the trailer, man? Why don't you start us off?
Oh, well, I thought the trailer was absolutely fantastic. I must admit that I was very surprised that when they said it was a gameplay trailer, it actually showed gameplay and not cinematic footage. So I mean, there was a lot to unpack with that trailer. A lot of things that gave me a good idea. Obviously, they said it was the introduction trailer, so there's going to be probably more videos that come out. But I was very surprised and happy to see this because I know that there was a trailer that dropped a day before for NBA 2K19. And this is a game that is out next month. So I was like, where the hell is the gameplay trailer? They finally dropped it. So I was surprised we got this trailer, and the fact that it was over 6 minutes long, yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and this is one of those trailers where it was an announcement of an announcement. You know, it was one of those deals. Like the emails, we got sent the emails yesterday. It's like, oh shit, here it comes. By the way, something interesting about Rockstar, right? Actually, you know what? I was just about to say something that's probably, I shouldn't say, but basically, we journalists saw it when everybody else saw it. We didn't get it beforehand. I have a theory about that, but I'm not gonna talk about that on air. I want to go to Carlos first, because you were one of these guys like, yo, what the fuck's this shit? What the fuck is this shit? It finally came. What do you think?
Yo, man, that shit looks amazing. I'm surprised how I'm surprised at how the emphasis is on sort of the open world aspect and how the environment is alive. And one of the things that I liked about this trailer is sort of they're talking about that community that they're in and how it's a whole bunch of people and how you get to know a lot of those people. And it's just interesting to see how they take that and make it so sort of that world is just more alive and you have more interactions with different types of people and you get to know people. And man, I've seen just a whole bunch of screenshots people posting on Twitter. It's like, man, that shit looks wallpaper material. Like there's some of these like terrains and the fucking horses. The horses. There's some like we posted
horse
this
nuts.
on Twitter. Yo, man, they even have that much detail into the horses, man. I'm like, damn, they paid attention to this shit. I wonder if it has physics.
Yeah, right. Ball physics, But yeah, there was hey, why not? You got titty physics. Why can't you have ball physics? But yeah, there was this one specific scene in there where like he's looking out over this giant fucking valley. There's mountains everywhere, and his horse just turns, and you see it pan. It's like, oh my god! And you could probably go to all that shit.
Exactly. That's I was looking at this one part where he's in the ridge of something, right? And there's like these trees, and then further on you can see like snow-capped mountains.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you could imagine if you can just go over there. That shit just seems crazy to me. It seems like Red Dead Redemption 1 did something similar, but this just looks bigger in scale, like by a lot. Man, I can't freaking wait for this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane, man.
My hype never died down per se, but I was always just wondering, what the hell is this trailer? This game comes out in like in 2 months, 2 or 3 months, and I'm like, when does this trailer come out? And I'm happy like they just released something, and yeah, everything looks good. I can't wait.
Yeah, Brett, I want you to join it because you were the other guy. It's like, yo, what's up, man? Why ain't we getting this fucking trailer? So what'd you think of it?
Well, first, I'm really looking forward to online, so I was a little bit disappointed they didn't touch on that, but I also got from the tone of the trailer that this is the first of a multi-part series, so we're gonna get that. So I'm not really concerned about that, but I do have to be like, my first impression was like, man, I hope they say something about multiplayer. They didn't, but I'm not freaking out. I'm just judging what I saw by what I saw, and it looks amazing. I gotta say, like, it looks absolutely great. Weirdly enough, for a prequel, the world actually looks expanded and more settled and more lived in than the previous Red Dead game, which was a big concern of mine, because I felt like the timing and the placement of the last Red Dead game, like historically, things were way more built at that point, and so they were kind of going for a weird cross between like actual history and kind of the idea of the Wild West, and the timing it just didn't match up. So actually the fact that things seem a little bit more settled and they're talking about this is the end of the Wild West era, even though this is a prequel, I feel like that's a kind of tonal shift and one that needed done. So it doesn't really strike me as quite so weird anymore. The world seems a bit more seamless, a bit more lived in. I love the idea of, you can interact with the world with more than just your gun. You can greet people, you can intimidate people, all that kind of stuff. I'm really looking forward to see if that's a mechanic that actually does come into online mode, because that is one thing that you do see a lot of right now, is people just running up and mowing each other down. And yeah, we may only wave to each other for the first couple weeks of the game, but it's a cool idea to be able to sneak up on somebody and be like, drop your weapon. So I think that adds a lot to it. I like the idea of meeting up with and making decisions that affect your camp and your party. One thing I always liked about the last one was the collecting, the kind of living on the prairie kind of thing, but it did have this weird kind of lonely aspect to it. So they've given me reasons to hunt down things other than They're pelts and they're worth money. So it kind of gives you a lot of narrative reason to do a lot of the things that made Red Dead great and push you out there a little bit more. Also, I gotta say, whatever their melee combat seems a little bit more spot on, and I know that they said that they had revamped it, but everybody's always going to say that, and maybe it's very cinematic, and maybe it just kind of plays like GTA does, but it looks like there's a little bit something more to the melee combat, which was a concern for me. Dropping, you're not going to have as many, rocket launchers and miniguns and all kinds of shit like that, so you're gonna have less of a pot to choose from. So it looks like they expanded the mechanics on both fighting, melee fighting and gunfighting, which makes me a happy guy. So all in all, I'm pretty fucking stoked for it.
Nice. A couple of things in the chat here. Life and Times podcast says that his only problem is that the story is a prequel. Just to explain that, it had to be a prequel because the first one, it wasn't even the Wild West anymore. The Wild West was already done at that point. It was like on the eve of World War I, where the world kind of became modern, so it wouldn't make any sense. It makes more sense for them to go back to the actual Wild West. But even at that point, it's still the tail end of it, or pretty much the end of it. So they couldn't really do another one. And Joey brings up a good point. He says that technically Red Dead Redemption 2 is Rockstar's first current gen game. He's actually right about that. GTA 5 was last gen. Pretty interesting. Chris, man, what'd you think of the trailer?
It looked good. I mean, I love what they polished the engine because everything looked beautiful. When they showed that shot, what was the guy you're playing? Arthur Morgan?
Yeah, Arthur Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah. So the shot of him like riding the horse up the mountain, he's looking at the countryside and all that stuff. That looks like so gorgeous, And then I was joking with Kristen. I'm like, see them horse mechanics? They look good, right? You're right, because every game, I think since Red Dead, like no game has really gotten it like right. Like it sort of get it right, but it's sort of wonky, and so that that stuff looked good. And then they had some stuff come back from the old game, like animal pelts are important because you need money, but then you're also in a gang, so then you have to like I don't know rob trains or banks or something, and then the idea I guess that they get pushed into different areas. So instead of GTA where you have to unlock different parts of the city, you get pushed out of an area and then you have to make a camp in a new one and then explore it and then rob it, and I guess you get pushed out again. So that's an interesting way of exploring the countryside, is that they're forced to move on, so that was cool. So I liked overall. I like what I saw. I still didn't see enough. Like I think they just are keeping a lot under the vest. Because like some of the R&D I saw when I was working there wasn't shown, and then none of the online was shown, so we don't know how that works. I still think that if they're going to do online, it's going to be integrated into the game. Like you are going to play in like a lobby, right? And you'd have to opt out of it. That's how I feel it's going to work, but that remains to be seen.
By the way, this trailer was specified just as gameplay. So they didn't mention anything about online. I think it was like gameplay and introduction part 1 or something like that.
Yeah, they specifically said that just in case people thought it was going to be online. It's like, no, it's just this. But, like they said, there's going to be more video. So, they're going to do an online one. They did it for GTA 5. They're going to do it for this one too,
Well, in fairness, online gameplay is still gameplay. So
that is true. Yeah, that is true.
To say.
No, but you know how they always do that? It's like, here's the story, here's the multiplayer. They always do trailers like that,
Oh, they absolutely do. I'm just saying, like, for the people out there that were hoping that they might see some gameplay, like, I can understand where you came from that, but if you knew their history, you would probably be like I am, like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Still a little disappointed when it didn't, but nothing to really freak out over.
Yeah. Hey, Manny, what'd you think about the new narrator lady?
She was fine.
I'm asking you because I'm like, yo, man, hey, it's a cat.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
You're distracted by him.
I was distracted by the cat. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I mean, it was like, okay, they decided to go with a lady, narrator this time around, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I like her. She's good. I just miss the old guy in Red Dead Redemption. Remember that guy? That guy was awesome.
The thing is that they got the guy who narrates those friggin' shows, like those Discovery Channel shows.
Yeah. Although it did get me thinking, like, Why don't they have, like, I guess maybe it's a tradition, like, why don't they have more women narrating stuff? It kind of sounds nicer, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of a sidetrack. Anyway, what'd you think of the trailer, man?
I thought it was cool. It gave me a good idea as to what was going on. To be honest, I feel like I didn't need to know, need to watch it though. To be honest, like there wasn't like, I didn't feel like it was anything that was that groundbreaking that I needed to watch it. So I probably am not going to watch the next one because I already know I'm going to get the game. So might as well just play the game and find out what it's all about.
Oh,
You know,
you're gonna get it? What?
I thought
well,
you
I mean,
hated
I owned the last one, and I owned the one before it, right? So, I'm gonna
Yo,
get this-
put zombies back in,
Red Dead
man.
Redemption before Red Dead Redemption.
yes, I was the one saying, "Oh my God, Red Dead's back," and they're like, "Wait, this is the first one."
Oh. Oh my
It's
god.
the first Red Dead Redemption, but it's not the first. It's the first Red Dead Redemption, but it's not the first Red Dead game.
Manny, you know what's funny? That kind of mirrors your thing with Metal Gear. When you were hyped for Metal Gear Solid, people were like, "What are you talking about? Why are you getting hyped for that? What do you mean it's a sequel?" You're like, "Metal Gear, dude."
Yeah, everybody like during the time of the original Metal, like when Metal Gear Solid came out, I was like, "Oh my God, finally we get a sequel to Metal Gear!" And everyone's like, "What are you talking about? This is the first one." I'm like, "No, nigga."
Oh man, Brian, man, what do you think, man?
It looks really good. Like, I have to admit, it looks just damn fantastic. Like, Rockstar has done what Rockstar do best, which is they put in amazing amount of work and amazing amount of detail to the game. Like, everything that I've seen is just like, hey, this game, it looks like what you thought a Rockstar next gen game would look like. And yeah, so it looks great. It's just that I just don't give a damn about the game. I see it, I'm like, cool, great, looks fantastic. Gameplay looks alright. They have lots of variety. They have like a gang like mechanic. They have hunting in there. They have like dialogue choices. If you want to like talk to people and like annoy them, look great. They have horses. Like horses, you quote unquote you build relationship, which is code word for the more you ride your horse, the better it handles. It's like, okay,
Yes.
cool, which we've seen multiple times. But anyway, whatever, fine. But generally, I just don't give a damn about Red Dead. I've never cared about it. It's just a franchise that can just come and go, and I'll be like, cool, great. What's next?
Brian, Life in Town wants to know if you're just salty because it's not coming to PC.
Yeah, the same thing happened when Final Fantasy 15 came out. It's like, I have a PS4. Like, I got 4 platinums last month. I can buy it. I just don't give a damn.
Yeah, Brian, your proper
That's just
response should be,
awesome.
I got 4 platinums last month. How many you get?
Good question. Like, how many did you get? Like, and how can I be salty? It's like, I got games to play, so hence, I can't be salty. Like, I just don't give a damn.
Yeah, Damien
Well,
agrees
yeah,
with you though,
talk about
Brian.
it.
Damien agrees with you. He's not interested.
Again, like, people just need to understand, like, not everyone will enjoy the game, so, and that's fine.
Well, you're not saying that you don't enjoy the game because you haven't played it, but you're just not looking forward to it.
Well, I'm not looking forward to it because I don't enjoy it. Like, I don't enjoy the setting. The mechanics can all be great, but for me, if the setting is not something that I care for, then I won't enjoy it.
Even if you're playing with your buddies, man.
Yep. Like, it's the same thing with World War One. I don't enjoy the setting, so hence any World War One games, I'm just like, cool, great, whatever. Like, Battlefield is a fantastic franchise. Like, I'll play Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1942 all day long, but Battlefield 1, nope, don't care.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Riku, you obviously don't care about this, do you?
So I watched the gameplay, saw the trailer, and I'm impressed. It looks cool. But like I said earlier on Twitter, I'm not that too kind of like how you are when it comes to like feudal Japan and samurais and all that stuff. You just it's not like you hate, you just don't care for it.
Tony
And it's
doesn't
kind
like
of the
westerns either.
oh really?
Yeah,
which
Red Dead's the only Western I actually like, believe it or not. And that's because it's Rockstar. You know, and generally, good and the bad and ugly is good. Manny lent me that movie, you know, so that was a good movie. But generally, I don't like Westerns, you know.
Yeah, I
Go ahead.
don't really care for westerns either. But if someone gave me the game and said, "Hey, you should try it," I'm not gonna be like, "Yeah, no, thanks." So that does mean that I do have, some sort of interest in the game to the point where, I'm not gonna reject it if someone gave it to me, but I'm not going to be there day one for it.
Yeah, cool, man.
So what if someone offers it day one for you?
Uh-oh.
I might play it. I'll definitely give it a chance because I definitely don't want to be that person to be like, "Oh yeah, you gave me the game. I never played it." I definitely don't want to be that person. And like I said, if someone did send me the game, I'll try it. I'll give my honest opinion. And I honestly think if I gave that game a legit chance, I probably would love it just as much as you guys. I just don't, want to allocate any time to it. That's all.
Carlos is scheming right now, man. He's scheming right now, man.
What's your address, Rico?
Yeah, like I said, I just don't really care for it. So I would say I'm above Brian when it comes to that, but yeah, I'm still not at the point where I'm ready to use my money for it.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Even the guys who aren't interested in it, everybody agrees that this game looks really fucking good.
Oh yeah,
it looks impressive.
You can see where all that GTA money went.
Yeah, right. All the shark card money, went into this shit.
Did it feel very GTA-like to anybody else? Like the map and some of the sound icons, things like that.
Yeah, I mean it's Rockstar. It has that DNA in it,
A little bit. I was a little bit surprised by it. I was like, man, this feels almost a little too much like GTA.
Really, you didn't get that from from Red Dead Redemption? Yeah, what is the first one? It is first, the first one. It felt like GTA with horses, exactly what it felt like to me. And this one's more of it, just pretty. Who said that? That this, Brian, you said that this is what you would expect Rockstar to, this is what you would expect their current gen game to be. Yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Yeah, it's Grand Theft Horse.
Grand Theft Horse.
This is what they do best. So hence, it's like, yeah, this is exactly like what I would expect. Like one of the things that I love about open world Rockstar games is that they always put a lot of effort into everything that you can do outside the main game. Like most games, it's like, hey, here's a quest marker and here's a camp to play it out. Whereas Rockstar's like, hey, you can go swimming, you can play table tennis, you can get tattoos. It's stuff that you wouldn't really think about doing in most games, but because it's there, it's yeah, that's actually quite nice. It's the small touches that make a massive difference. And it seems like this game has tons of that.
Yeah, for sure, man. So hopefully we won't have to wait long until the next trailer. Probably not, because the game's coming out pretty soon now. So pretty sure they're gonna step it up. It'll be cool, man. All right, next up, we got to talk about this. Richard, this is partly the reason I wanted you on tonight, because you're a fellow writer as well. We got to talk about this whole situation with IGN, man. This is crazy. So apparently one of the reviewers who's no longer with them anymore plagiarized a small YouTuber's review of Dead Cells. This made waves everywhere, man. This was crazy. Even people that weren't even gamers were talking about this shit. This is how big it got. I'm forgetting the guy's name. It's what's the name of the YouTuber again? The guy who got Boomstick Gaming, right?
Broomstick Gaming. Yeah.
So he posted his review of Dead Cells 2 weeks ago, right? And then
it was longer than that.
Was it
July 24th?
Okay, yeah. So it was 2 months ago, I guess.
Yeah, because that was when the PC. He was reviewing the PC version of it.
Yeah,
no, it was essentially 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so what? Damn, man, you're screwing me up. It's 2 weeks. All right, so man, I'm not gonna get into that life and good times. I did review a keyboard for IGN. You go check that out. But anyway, so yeah, basically this guy lifted this dude's review not word for word, but some of the words were the same, but even the structure of it was exactly the same. And obviously, Boomstick Gaming puts out his comparison video, and he's just like, hey, what do I do? I mean, I guess he didn't realize just putting it out there was all he needed to do. It got on Reddit, it got on Twitter, and in short notice, this man was fired, because of the plagiarism thing. That's the thing, is plagiarism for a journalist, that's the kiss of death.
Yep.
So this guy is done.
That's the first thing they tell you. I mean, even when if you ever taken any college classes, even your professors are very, strict about that. They're like, if I find that you're plagiarizing, I'm gonna instantly fail you. Shit like that. So This is stuff they tell you right away.
Yeah. So, Rich, get in here, man. What are your thoughts on all this, man? As a writer, you know.
Well, first and foremost, it's a very, very unfortunate situation. Very unprofessional and a horrible thing to happen. I know IGN has had a couple of major incidents, you know, going all the way back to the assault allegations they had, and then the fact they had people leaving left and right because they had they had two other people, I guess you can say two big people leave recently. But this situation, everything about it is embarrassing. Now, the one fact about it to me that really, really stood out is the guy who plagiarized this review. This guy wasn't just a freelancer. This was their Nintendo editor that they hired on. And funny enough, this was a guy that also was a YouTuber that IGN hired. So he started out as a YouTuber. He had his own channel doing Nintendo. I believe his name is Philip Mushin. I may be pronouncing his last name incorrect. But yeah, this guy started out making videos on his YouTube channel. IGN saw him and said, hey, we should hire him. And they made him a Nintendo editor for their site. So for this situation to happen where he is the one that does this, obviously, yeah, they terminated him immediately, as they should have. But I just think this is just such a bad look for IGN in so many which ways. Now, they did put a video out that I saw earlier today in which they, you know, by Brian Altano explained that, you know, it wasn't, you know, basically trying to say, you know, we will review the game again. Another person will review the game, and we apologize because, you know, fans come to the site to look for our opinions on games. So I think they handled that part correctly, but I just think, yeah, this is a real bad situation, and, you know, it's unfortunate. I think that guy's career is in jeopardy now in more ways than one. I mean, for people to know that he plagiarized stuff, that is not a good look for him at all professionally moving forward. So we'll see what happens, but a very, very bad situation. I would not have wanted to be in that situation.
Not to mention, that is not the first time he's actually plagiarized somebody.
Yeah, the thing is, like, after this came to light, people started digging into his past, and they've discovered other instances of him taking other people's content effectively. You know, so yeah, you know, I kind of disagree with you on one thing, Rich. You said that his career is on shaky ground. I think his career is done. No one's going to hire this guy. You know.
Yeah. Well, no. Hey, I agree. I agree. I guess he'll have to look for career outside of gaming.
Yeah, Rich, I'm going to be real with you right now. Say if this guy came to you wanting to work for the coalition, you wouldn't accept this guy. You know?
Oh hell no! Oh hell no! There's no way in hell. No way in hell that'll happen.
Exactly. So no big site is going to do that.
Editor-in-chief of the coalition says he would not hire.
Oh God, man, it's crazy. But you know, there's a couple of things I want to touch on. First of all, I want to say the obvious. IGN made the right call here, and people got on IGN back about this. They got a bunch of shit. It's like, you can't, you know, screen all this shit. Like, if this was a written review, there are programs out there you could use to, like, look for plagiarism. Can't do that when it's a video. You know what I'm saying? So but anyway, here's the thing.
Even if you review the video, it's like, how the hell are they gonna know? Oh, this is beat by beat with someone like, oh, like, it wasn't even a big YouTuber. It was like just a medium-sized YouTuber that made this.
No, but you're right about that. It's like, how do you know what video to look for to make sure it wasn't plagiarized? You see what I'm saying? IGN was in a very tough spot when it comes to it. So there was no fault of theirs, but obviously people, you know, they want to shit on IGN because they're the biggest site out there, you know. But here's the thing.
How are they going to be able to? What are they going to go check every single video on the internet to make sure everybody's on the up and up?
Exactly, man. But here's a couple things I wanted to bring up, right? When it comes to games journalism, right, there is a certain level of, it's not plagiarism, but there's a certain level of copying, right? You get the same news reports, you get the same press releases, so you're all taking it from the same source, right? So I understand that, but this wasn't that, right? This is a review. What is a review at the end of the day? It's your personal opinion of a video game, right? It's like, if you're lifting this off of somebody else, then it's not your opinion anymore. Somebody else's opinion, right? You can't cite a review. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you do a news source, let's say, Hollywood Reporter, it puts out a story, hey, Henry Cavill's not going to be Superman anymore, just for the sake of argument, right? Like, if they're the ones that first reported that, if I'm doing my report, I have to cite them, right? but that's not an opinion thing. You know what I'm saying? But even if that was an opinion, I would have to recite where the news came from. But for a review, it is your own personal thing. You can't be citing other people. Because think about this. You're reading a review that I did, and I say, hey, you know, this guy said this in your review. It's like, Tony, why are you looking at somebody else's review? I want to read your review. You know, so it just looks bad no matter how you slice it, man. Damien, hold on. Whoa. What are you talking? Damien, bro, really? This is what Damien says. We're not going to get too sidetracked. He goes, IGN should have screened him better. They have the resources. Bullshit, Tony. That's a lame excuse. Really? No, so you expect IGN to scour the entire internet? Come on, bro. That's just unrealistic, man.
That's totally unrealistic. You have to be able to look at every single review of this game on YouTube. I'm sorry, but you can't do that. Like,
oh, it's like, what was he even doing reviews before he went to IGN? Like, he was doing his videos. It's like, okay, so he did. So we're trying to hire this guy. He did a review of, I don't know, Minecraft on Switch or whatever. So let's look up this video and compare it to every other freaking Minecraft video on the internet and see if it's plagiarized. It's like, it's stupid.
Yeah, that's just unrealistic, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just silly. Yes, unrealistic. You can't. Like, I don't think the government has the resources to do that. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. But yeah, that's what I wanted to get out there. It's like, bro, you just really hurt your own career by doing this. Like, plagiarizing somebody's review. That is, like, I understand there's deadlines and stuff. And here's the other thing. I was talking to man about this, bro. This game's been out for a fucking year already. Really? You couldn't have, like, played it and formed your own opinion beforehand? Like, he probably had a deadline, right? That's not an excuse, obviously. He probably had a deadline, but it's like, the game's been out, bro. Come on, man. It's bad, and it's bad for, the good people at IGN that I got hurt over this, because a lot of their editors, got a bunch of shit thrown at them, guys who weren't even involved. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it just makes everybody look bad, everybody all around there. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy. Go ahead, guys. Jump in. It's insane.
Yeah, it's just like and the fact that obviously people on IGN get paid. So literally, this guy got paid to rip off somebody else. A guy who really didn't have a really big YouTube channel. Like, it was decent.
Let me say something about that in particular. Sorry to cut you off. IGN did say that all of the revenue that they did make off of that video went towards the guy who got plagiarized.
That's good. That's good. And good. You know what? I do want to say this, though. In my opinion, if this guy's reviews are good enough to be on IGN effectively, hire this man. I'm just saying.
I have to disagree with that, Tony.
Why is that?
Because I watched the video. Okay, this is the only time in which I'm going to be leaning towards this side of the argument. I feel the need to say this to you.
It won't be the first time.
It won't be the first time.
Did you just say you people?
I did.
You people?
What do you mean? What do you mean by you people?
The people listening to this podcast. You people.
Yeah, come on, guys. Let Brett talk, man.
So, Tony, the one thing I have to do, I have to say, and I hate to say this, but it is the God's honest truth. The guy from IGN made a much better presentation out of his. Is the only thing I have to say. I'm not sure if they hired like a voice actor, or he's just got better cadence, or he's got more time used to being on camera. The quality of the content itself in the original channel was amazing. The presentation,
because he's on a fucking professional site, obviously.
Yeah, and he already had something to base it off of. Yeah, he has the better.
I know. I just had to throw that out there in the sense that, like, just because he's writing well enough to be on IGN, I don't know that he's good enough to be doing the video reviews on IGN.
I'm pretty sure he'd be better if he had IGN's equipment, bro. I'm just saying.
He'll just throw a little gain on his voice and be like,
No,
remember the guy in IGN was in a studio recording this shit. This guy was probably in his bedroom,
Well, like, I agree with kind of both sides, because like with Brett, the dude did sound kind of weird when he talked. I'm like, he's like, well, I want to go. I'm like,
He was reading his own script, and you could tell. That's the only criticism I could give is, like, dude, you need to get better at performing the things that you want to do. If you're going to do more than write reviews, if you're going to video reviews, and I'm just getting this out of the way now because I know everybody's going to dogpile me, you need to focus on your presentation. There is more to this than just good writing. Right. I just have to disagree with the one thing that Tony said is that just because he's good enough to write this means he's good enough to be doing it at IGN.
Well, that's fine because IGN has the resources to put someone with him to do the voiceover, right?
Yeah,
like,
that would be fine.
Yeah, IGN
but
would
he
just hire
doesn't have
somebody
those
else.
resources,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Like if you guys had a problem with his voice, IGN would just hire somebody with a better voice to read his review. You know?
But they stole his review. That's the point. Like,
Yeah, that's the point,
He wrote
yeah.
that shit himself, and he narrated everything. And beat for beat, they stole it, right? That's the issue.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. No, I absolutely. That's
okay,
why
you
I
gotta
was starting
clarify
it.
because I'm like, okay, he wrote this review. IGN posted that review. It's obviously good enough to be on IGN.
What Brett's saying, and I think this is how I understood it. It's like Brett's saying, yeah, like the dude got plagiarized and it was pretty bad, and IGN did a bad job at that. But by you guys saying that he should be hired, it's like I think Brett saying, nah, I've watched his review. It was the performance wasn't good enough to get hired.
But the performance is kind of irrelevant, though. It's the written stuff,
Yeah,
like the
it's the
actual
writing.
script.
And that's,
You know?
I've been trying to ask the question. I wanted to jump in here. Is the person who is doing the video review always the person who wrote it at IGN? That's the big
No.
one.
No.
It's not.
Okay,
It's
then
not.
it's a non-issue.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
responding to specifically what that one thing that you said, Tony.
Like,
now
yeah.
that I've gotten that out of the way, it is absolutely abhorrent to rip somebody off in that fashion. The guy is a complete fucking charlatan and deserves everything that he got. Now, to all of you people out there who want to go and like fucking take pitchforks and torches to IGN, here's my question. What would you have them do? Or what would you do in their position? Because I know all of us fall prey to the whole like, well, nothing's going to make us happy. And this is a transgression. I'm just bound and determined to be angry about this whole thing. And I understand that. But as I was talking with Tony earlier, one of the things I first mentioned was like, I mean, they fired him. They fired him and publicly apologized and donated the proceeds. Like, what else do you want IGN to do? What?
Brett,
I
I have
guess
an
my
answer.
question is,
I have an answer.
yes.
They want IGN to shut down. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
they want the impossible. They want IGN to retroactively fire or not hire this guy.
Yeah, they want the IGN to build a time machine and not hire this guy. There you go, Brett. There's your answer.
Like, you should have known.
It's
like-
insane.
Like, I just want to tell everyone here, like everyone who, like every company in every huge corporation in the world has bad people that worked on them. Like
Yeah.
you'll find them everywhere.
But the point, Brett, I'm pretty sure you're trying to make is like, okay, the guy was fired. What more do you want? Right?
Well, and that's why I led in with the whole like, I'm not sure if he's good enough to be performing these things for IGN. So that's why I wanted to get that out of the way, because if everybody's saying like, fire this guy, hire the guy who did the original thing, normally I would be on board. And I was actually on board, and then I saw the video, and like I said, it lacks a certain amount of production, and it sounds like the guy's reading from the script. So should he maybe get an interview at IGN? Sure. Should they like pull him on as a writer? Sure. But I don't think that they should replace the video that was taken down with the content created from the guy who
No
they
one said
stole
that
from.
though, but I'm saying hire this guy. I never said in what capacity. Definitely, he's good enough to write for IGN. If that's what makes you happier, he's definitely good enough to write for IGN because it was his whole script was pretty much ripped off.
Yeah, and I would agree with that statement. He's good enough to write for
Yeah,
IGN.
IGN has money. They could get somebody else to read the fucking script.
And that's fine as long as
The guy
as
from
we're,
game trailers or something.
as long as we're not taking morality and using it in place of quality.
No,
like,
of course not. I thought I was very
'cause I-
clear. It's like, hey, your shit is good enough to be on IGN. IGN hired this guy. Simple as that.
Some people out there aren't, and I know plenty of kind of people, and maybe they're not even people listening right now, but the kind of people would be like, who would overlook the fact that it needs polish and work before it becomes of professional caliber. They'd overlook that just for the moral victory of
Yeah, it's not even moral victory. It's just like, yo, you literally took this guy's script. Hire that guy. Simple as that. But I know what you're getting at though. It's like, but again, I'm not coming at it from any moral type of thing. It's just like, this guy's script was good enough. You paid him money already. Give him a job. That's it, But then
you do a very good job of saying exactly what you mean, and then other people do a very good job of adding on shit to that you didn't say. So that's the reason I'm clarifying. I'm not contradicting you. I'm contradicting the unheard part that some people out there are going to hear.
Yeah. But on the flip side, though, right? This is a question I want to ask you guys. If hypothetically speaking, IGN wants to hire this guy, should he accept? Because of this, his profile's blown up. He may do better without IGN. You know what I'm saying? That might be a better route, actually. He's blown up now because of this.
Yeah. No, I think they should pay him some sort of royalties, and he should just keep doing his own thing.
Which they did.
Yeah, they did. But
Okay,
it's
so
something to consider.
yeah.
It's like, hey, maybe my man just wants to strike out on his own now. He's obviously, even though obviously it's rough around the edges and shit, the guy does,
man.
quality stuff,
The dude-
So maybe he needs to just keep building on that, refine it, you know what I'm saying? Iron out the edges and shit,
Yeah,
Well,
nothing a little practice
he
won't
can
take
do
forever.
both. I mean, he can still keep his YouTube channel rolling and get a job at IGN. It's
Well,
like
we don't know
I don't know
about,
if
no,
I
I don't
don't
think that
think he
works.
can do that.
Yeah, he can't
Yeah,
do that.
I don't know.
He can't
I don't
do
know
that.
about that.
because if that's not the case, then just get the job at IGN because YouTube doesn't
No.
pay that well.
I think IGN is garbage tier media, and they're gonna freaking fall apart under their own weight. They should be hiring more guys like that, more grassroots guys, than hiring. I'll just say it, political ideologues to be their editors. How about that?
Conversation for another day, man.
You know,
yeah.
The one thing about them is funny because the guy that they hired was the grassroots.
He was a grassroots guy. That's right. Hey, just because you're grassroots doesn't mean you can't be an asshole.
No, well, yeah. I mean that's true. Like, but if the environment's poison, then you're just gonna end up poisoned at the end of the day. And he shouldn't join them for that reason. That's why I say he should keep his YouTube channel, stay away from them.
Yeah, Dana makes a good point. You don't need IGN to succeed. That is true. Go ahead, Brian.
I actually disagree with that. I say you take the IGN gig.
I agree with Brian.
Me too.
Okay, and here's my reason why. Like, first of all, YouTube is going down the drain. We can all see it happening now. Like, monetization problems are getting worse and worse and worse. So then most people move on to Patreon. And this guy, I'm assuming that due to his size, his Patreon is not that great. So what I say is you take the IGN gig and then use that to build your profile in the worst case.
Yep.
That way, if IGN is a poisonous place and you have to leave, then at least you leave and you leave with a bigger profile than when you came in. And then you should have enough Patreon supporters to help you out.
Well, yeah,
So,
YouTube
that's
is
a
a
good
trash
point.
platform,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean he couldn't move his platform to Twitch, right?
Yeah,
But
but
it's
then-
so volatile right now. Like he may be popular for the next month or two, and he may retain some people, but I don't see the life of a YouTube star is very short, not long enough that I think that you can make a career out of it.
When this guy's not even
So
nowhere near a YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you use the IGN platform to like build your own platform, and then with that, you can then move away, and you'll still have a respectable amount of people that will follow you. Like,
Yeah.
what's the guy that left IGN? Was it Greg Miller or something like that?
Greg Miller and
Yeah.
Colin Moriarty.
Yeah, like just do what those guys did and use IGN as their platform. That way, if it's good, then at least you have the like, hey, I work at IGN, like the biggest game site on the planet. And worst case, it's like, okay, cool. I used to work at IGN, biggest game site on the planet, but now I have my own thing, and here it is. So at least then you can have like your own community that will support you.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think the time when you could have springboarded off onto your own thing, where the environment was good enough, like Greg Miller and all these guys took advantage of that. I think those days are. I think IGN has sunk so low that'll be like, well, you could sit on the sun deck of the Titanic as the ship is splitting in half, and you're still on a sun deck, right? But you're gonna die. So I don't think that's a good idea.
And also,
I mean,
IGN, from what I hear, IGN has a little bit of a thing about their full-time employees doing what Greg did, where he had a separate YouTube channel and all that other stuff. They kind of cut that all down because of what happened with him. So no other IGN personality could probably do the same thing he did.
I would agree with that, but Chris, let me ask you. As shitty as IGN is, and I don't disagree with any of that.
Yeah.
If they're not at the top of the pile right now, who is? So, because it seems to me what we're really saying is the whole pile is sinking, but IGN's still kind of at the top, aren't they?
Well, they're at the top. Well, GameSpot has quite a bit of money and following. So does like Polygon. I mean, if he could leverage that, he could leverage any of those. I would say probably he'd have to like find the least shitty one. I don't know what GameSpot's like.
You go
Maybe
work for
that's better.
Kotaku.
They're trash. Fucking trash.
That was me throwing shade. I'm sorry.
Hey man, if you if you don't have a job and you need one, get it, man.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
all
know
I'll
if he and we don't know his work situation. Maybe he does this on the side. Maybe he's got a job.
His current job could be something that pays him really, really well. He may not even need this
Yeah,
shit.
if
Well,
he,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
he might
one
not
thing-
Like if
one
this dude's
thing
doing IT or something, he's probably legit. He's making way more money than any fucking gaming journalist, you know?
one thing he did say, which was kind of cool, is like he was like, "Listen, you know, I don't want this guy to get fired. I just want them to kind of not acknowledge that this happened."
Yeah,
you know?
I'm glad you bring that up. It says something about this guy's character. He flat out said, "I do not want him to be fired. I just want him to get acknowledged." Like that's some of us wouldn't do that. Like if it was me, I'd be like rain fire on this motherfucker. You know, but-
You're like fire and brimstone will come down on us.
yeah, man. But this guy's class act dude, you know, and that's a good attitude to have, despite all what happened to him.
Well, I mean, he said he's been jobless before, and he's like he doesn't want to see that happen on his account, despite it did happen in his account. But
Yeah, but he was the
victim.
victim. He just be real. He was the victim in all this, you know.
Mhm.
I don't know, if, anything else you guys want to add to this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Rico,
Oh,
go ahead, brother.
Go ahead, Rico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can you guys guess, out of all of this entire situation, who is, happy at the end of the day?
The guys who made Dead Cells.
Yeah. Look at all this motherfucking popularity. I bet you didn't know about Dead Cells before this, now did you? Well, there's a decent amount of people that
This
didn't
was
know
an
about
inside
Dead
job,
Cells.
man.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of people that did not know about Dead Cells before this whole, shabacle went on. Now it's pretty popular, and everyone's like, "Oh, what's going on with plagiarism? What's with Dead Cells? Let me look at this game. Oh, this game looks actually pretty cool."
Yeah, because
this
it got a 9.7 out of 10 on IGN. It's like, damn.
Yeah, and each version, I think right now on Metacritic, it's like over a 90. That's really high for just a standalone new IP indie game. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, they're you realize they haven't said anything about none of this. They're just like, yeah, look at all this popularity.
They're like, at least we're getting mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this was a bad week for that Philip guy, but a great week for Boomstick Gaming and Dead Cells.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Go ahead, Carlos.
Oh, okay. That's just gonna be 2 sentences. Dead Cells figures out an intriguing way to have your roguelike and Metrovania experience all in one by focusing on your failure and encouraging you to try something new the next time.
Plagiarism.
Dead Cells strikes a perfect and engaging balance between the Metroidvania and roguelike experience by focusing on your failures and urging you to experiment every time you fail.
Jesus, man.
By the way, these aren't my words. These are my words. I just want to clarify that right now.
Plagiarism.
Oh God, Miguel says, I remember Max Mole reviewed this game a year ago in Steam. Yeah, it's been out, son.
Yo, let's read Max's review. Maybe both of these guys stole from Max.
Oh shit!
Oh, wouldn't that be
Yeah.
crazy? Some bit of shit.
Triple plot twist.
Yeah, they stole from Max, man. He got some
What a
shit,
twist.
But yeah, Boomstick Gaming, man. More power to you, brother. That's all I'm gonna say, man. I want to try to get him on Throwdown. That'd be dope,
It's full of boomstick.
Call it Boomstick, man. All right, man. So we'll move on here. Some gaming news. Again, a lot of stuff happened this week. Now, the first one is that they showed they had a new Nintendo Direct for Smash Brothers Ultimate, and this game has every character ever created by by mankind. Apparently, everybody's in this shit.
It's pretty much the who's who of Nintendo.
They're gonna
like,
reveal me next week.
Even games from the past, things that got associated with Nintendo are on there now. It's like, Castlevania and stuff like that.
Can I quickly jump in with this? It's like I find it funny. I'm like, hey, Konami, you see how hyped people are to see Simon Belmont back? I'm just saying,
Dude, who do you think fucking signed that shit? They didn't just go, oh hey, we're gonna put them in there. No, they just said, all right, let's do it.
Because Konami see all the other motherfuckers doing, and they're like, oh.
Konami's
we're not really doing anything with it. Sure, yeah. You want to?
Konami's already got Snake in there, so they're like, hey, why can't we just put these other guys in there too?
Yeah, well, I mean, they want the licensing money, but what's funny is that Sakurai and his team did the design work for how they look in the game, right? So I find it odd, like that people love how they look. Like the reaction from the trailer was like wholly positive about how they look and play and whatnot. So I mean, and Konami probably didn't have any input other than like just give us a paycheck and you can use
They
the
probably
characters.
just like anything, they have to have people that approve these sorts of things, just like any of that stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, Chris, what's going on with this game now, man?
So Sakurai did about a 30-minute long direct, and he talked. The first intro was that Simon and Richter Belmont are characters. So they have this thing called echo characters. So I mean, it's like a reskin.
Mhm.
So Simon and Richter are essentially the same character. They just have slightly different moves, and they have different appearance, and different and starting and ending animations. But they're essentially the same. And so that got people hyped immediately.
Why don't they make multiple versions of Snake, man?
I
Put Big
don't
Boss in
think
there.
they
Oh,
should
Big
make-
Boss, yeah.
So there's they introduced that there's Dark Samus from the Metroid Prime series, and there's 2 characters from Fire Emblem. I'm not familiar with the newer Fire Emblem, so I had no idea who they were. And then he said there's a whole bunch of new stages. They said in total they had over 100 stages now in the game, and they had something like, if you count all the different music tracks, the menus and everything, they had like 900 music tracks. And they have a mode where you can actually turn off your Switch, the screen, and plug in your headphones and listen to the music. So you could use the Switch like a music player. And they added a turning mode where they have a tree. So you have a pyramid, so the game keeps track and eliminates people from the tree. They obviously that part of the direct, I'm like, okay, this is geared at like, hey, Evo guys, you can retire Melee finally. You can retire it. We have put in a mode just for you guys, and you can track all the shit through the game. That was definitely talking to the fighting guys. So, and that's what they want. Like, I'm almost surprised they didn't announce that they're remaking another GameCube controller, but. Short of that, it was a lot of new characters and new music, the assist trophies, and then the surprise thing when he finished was that King K. Rool from Donkey Kong Country is another added character. And then they showed the whole roster, and then they said they have more unrevealed characters coming, like in like a couple of months.
I can't believe they ended with that, man. They could have ended with freaking
With Belmont.
the Belmont, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that I think it's like, because it's like King K. Rool is a Nintendo character.
Ah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, people have actually been asking for him for quite a while. That other one was just a big surprise, and people like that. But there's actually been a lot of talk about King K. Rool.
Here's a fun thing about this. This is not the first game that Simon Belmont and Snake. Actually, this is not the first Smash-like game that Simon Belmont and Solid Snake have been in. Apparently, well, not apparently, but a long time ago in 2003, which is a game I played, was called Dream Mix TV World Fighters, which was essentially Hudson, Konami, and Takara. The Takara, the toy company, essentially made a Super Smash Brothers type game. And in this game, you could literally play Megatron and Optimus Prime. So you can have a Megatron and Optimus Prime versus Simon Belmont and Solid Snake and Bomberman and Adventure Island guy. So it's pretty fun.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
Yep.
me either.
I posted about it not long ago.
So Riku, what are your thoughts about this, man?
They getting everybody and their grandma inside there, man. Get the Echo character for Zack, for Cloud. Shit, go ahead. Anybody that fucking can be an Echo character, because that's basically their little fancy word for clone character. Everyone's just
Ryu, you bit Ken in there, or Akuma, right?
yeah, like and get Shadow the Hedgehog in there for Sonic. Apparently, that's like the next most requested character everybody wants now, especially since I think in the previous games, Shadow used to be an assist trophy, which is like this item you can use, and a non-playable character will pop out and help you. And Shadow used to be that, but they swapped out to Knuckles. So everyone's like, oh, Shadow's not an assist trophy anymore, So, I mean, it seems like all the Nintendo guys, like you said, Tony, man, they flipped out on Twitter to the point where you thought something even bigger than what actually happened.
Yeah, I thought there was like a new game reveal. The way these guys went crazy,
man.
son.
You know how these Nintendo guys go, man. They're probably the most loud and passionate, in comparison
That
to
is a fact.
PlayStation.
Yo, man, you should have known it wasn't no new game reveal, because you saw that Super Smash Bros was playable at E3.
I didn't know that shit. I was busy playing other games.
They had a whole booth devoted to it, bro.
What, at West Hall? You know I didn't go to West Hall. The only time I went to West
right
Hall,
across the way from Sony.
The only time I went to the West Hall was to go visit the developer that you did the drawings for. I never went to the West Hall.
This shows you how much Tony gives a fuck about
exactly. Do I cover Nintendo? I don't cover Nintendo, so I didn't know this shit.
And you were literally behind the Nintendo booth when you went to Sega. Didn't you go hit Sega at some point?
Sega was upstairs, man.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Actually, no, I didn't hit Sega at all this year. What am I talking about? I didn't even hit Sega. I don't even know where the hell Sega was. You know?
Yeah, they were right behind. They were literally right behind the Nintendo.
Yeah, I had no appointments in the West Hall. It was all South Hall or upstairs. You know. Yeah, which was good, by the way. I love that shit. I didn't have to be on the show floor too much. But yeah, again, but you know me, I don't give a fuck about no Smash Brothers.
No, I would say out of everyone here, if you do or do not care about Smash, is not the point. What I'm trying to say is Tony, out of everyone here, is definitely the person that cares about it the least.
And not to mention at E3 they literally announced that Snake was back in the game and the Solid Snake was being played by David Hayter.
Yeah, but I didn't know that because there was no Nintendo event for me to attend. Oh, you know me, man. I sleep in for that shit. We didn't even watch that, did we?
I think we did talk about it there, but I think it just kind of leapt out of your mind.
I don't. You know me, dude. If I don't care about it, in one ear out the other, I don't give a fuck. You know, let other people worry about that. But again, but since I don't know anything about it, I'm just basing this off of the reactions I saw on Twitter, which are still going on, by the way.
Yeah, people making a whole bunch of King K. Rool memes.
Yeah, so I'm like, yo, this is a new game reveal. What the fuck happened? You know, but you know, I guess it's not. It's just
yo, man. Don't base your shit on the fucking reaction to Twitter.
Hey, that's got me a lot of stories,
man.
Hey, that's got me. Why am I gonna do research on this shit? I don't give a fuck about it.
Do some real research.
For what? I'm not reviewing this shit. You know, I focus on my shit, man.
This boy, man, he trolling tonight, son.
He is trolling, you know?
No, but I mean, here's.
No, man, don't forget to cite your resources.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, so it'd be like, fuck. You know, I don't give a fuck about Smash Brothers by Tony.
Yeah.
You know?
But I do think I will be surprised if this is not the highest rated Smash out of all of them. It has to be. Like
I'm gonna make a prediction right now. I'm gonna make a prediction right now. They're gonna change the rating systems in the video game industry just for this game. 12 out of 10. Let's go.
I was talking to my friends about it. I could see this getting around a 95 or 96 on Metacritic. But as far as
a given, yeah.
No. I think you're gonna be able to. Okay, basically, it won't be like, hey, how many 10 out of 10s did you get? I think you're going to be able, the real question should be, what site didn't give it a 10 out of 10? You know how people get with Nintendo? Yeah. What site didn't give it a 10 out of 10 or 100 out of 100? I guarantee you this shit's going to be 100s and 10s all across the board.
There's going to be one contrary site. There's going to be
like one site, and they're I pray.
They're trying to do it for the hits.
I pray for the person that gives us a bad review because they're going to get some death threats. I guarantee you that. Ooh, don't do that, please, man. Remember that one? Jim Sterling got death threats after he gave Zelda a bad review. Remember that? Yeah, he gave that shit a 7 out of 10. Motherfuckers wanted to kill him. I'm not making this up.
That's not even a bad rating.
You know, oh, man. I pray for the soul that gives it an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. We're the Smash Brothers.
Yeah, Smash. People love that shit, man. But let me just say one thing about this. His name is Sakurai, right? The guy that's Sakurai. If there's one thing I actually took notice to him when he was actually doing that video, was that dude looked tired as fuck, yo. His eyes were red. He just looked like he's been milked to oblivion.
Sakurai is a perfectionist, bro. Like, he's fucked himself up before doing that shit, like staying up, not sleeping for days and days. He's crazy, man.
The butt heads a lot. Like, I remember when Smash Brothers Wii happened and he first showed Mario with the denim, because he put the denim pattern on his overalls. Mm-hmm. Yo, apparently Miyamoto like flipped the table, man.
Wow.
And he didn't give a shit.
How dare you, Sakurai? You dishonor Mario.
Yeah, and the funny thing is Mario has denim on his suspenders now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wait, who was it? You said Miyamoto?
Yeah, Miyamoto. Yeah, he didn't like that.
Dare!
You said the Smash Brothers Wii U came out?
The Wii version, the Brawl. Smash Brawl.
Yeah, because he was
'Cause-
trying to give it a little bit more of a a little bit more textures, like
Yeah.
like they're all kind of have somewhat more realistic looking textures on them. So he has denim on his pants, and all kinds of the other characters have all these additional details on them.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw the picture of Mega Man. Mega Man has way more detail on him than he's supposed to.
He's had it since the last game.
Yeah, but the thing is, everyone was cool about all that stuff,
Mhm.
right? Like, didn't care. But when you put the denim on Mario, it's like flipped out. That's the story I heard.
I wonder how many tables he flipped out when he saw shirtless Mario.
Oh man.
Oh, yo, I don't think what's that guy's name? The guy the new producer of
I
Mario,
forgot. I
who
know who
did
you're
Mario
talking
Odyssey.
about. Yeah.
The Ice Cubes guy. I always make fun of him, but he's cool.
Oh yeah, the ice.
Yeah,
Cubes.
he apparently butted heads with him about like Cappy he didn't want in the game, and he did it anyway. The shirtless thing, like apparently he's butting heads. Yeah, but I think this is why my theory: Miyamoto has a window seat now. Like guys are just doing what the fuck they want.
Yeah, whoever produced I forget the guy's name, the new Mario Odyssey. I'm glad he didn't listen to Miyamoto.
Oh yeah,
Did
man.
not listen. Yeah, man.
I'm glad he didn't.
Skillet with a cat, man.
Yeah, Brett, what's your thoughts?
Well, that's
on
the
Smash?
same. That's the same guy who did Mario Odyssey, by the way.
Yeah, that's right.
And he even told Miyamoto told that guy, is like, yeah, don't put story in your games. So that's why the story with Rosalina was kind of pushed down a little bit in
Mario Galaxy. You mean,
Mario
right?
Galaxy, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Brett, get in here, Megas. I know you like Smash Brothers.
I'm just genuinely excited. I mean, you don't really have to fuck with the Smash Brothers formula too much. It's pretty set in stone. So
and they're really not doing anything. Just adding more characters and.
Yo, man, they put
stages.
denim on Mario's pants though.
I mean,
The
we're just gonna
tourney
get
thing
more of
is
the
a big
same.
deal, though. The tourney thing is like their excuse to say like this is the definitive Smash Brothers. Like, stop playing Melee. Like, I think that's really
Dude,
what they want.
but here's the thing, though. They're never gonna stop playing Melee unless, from a gameplay standpoint, Smash implements wave dashing, and that's the sad part because they don't. They're not. They already said that they are not interested in implementing the wave dashing technique. And I know people that play. That's the main reason they like Melee from a gameplay standpoint above every other Smash that came before or after it. And they played. They went to some events and they played the new one, and they said, "Oh, no wave dashing. I'm just gonna play this casually like I did, the other three that came out after Melee." So, like, that's what they're saying. Just letting you know.
But I mean, like, that's crybaby shit because, like, I could complain and play Street Fighter 3 all the time and be like, well, no, the Street Fighter has parrying, so it's inferior, right?
but all. I mean, for them, that's considered inferior. That's the main reason why Melee is still alive today. That one tiny little thing. You know how some people go,
Yeah, but they need to get over it. Get over it.
You
It's
can
like,
tell them to get over
it's like complaining about all the games after Street Fighter Alpha not having alpha counters.
Alpha counters, right? Yeah, I'm not gonna play. I'll just play Alpha 3. You know what? It's like,
But people that do that, though.
Past it. No, but they could, like, but they don't because, the Street Fighter is a big boy game, so we put on our big boy pants and get over shit like that.
No, but what I'm saying is people still play Street Fighter Alpha 3 because of that feature.
Street Fighter
Yeah, but
3.
you can't play competitively. You can't go to Evo and play Alpha 3.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm saying? But Melee still has a slot at Evo. This is what they want them to get rid of. Like, it's not about the fanboys who want wave dashing. It's to get the competitive circuit to drop Melee and adopt this.
I'm telling you why Melee is still here.
Right, but that doesn't make any money for Nintendo, and that's what this is a game of. This is a game about selling numbers. So if they can get Evo and everybody to drop Melee as a slot, that would be a huge win for them.
I know, and all I'm saying is that if Nintendo really wants to drop Melee, they got to do what's keeping Melee alive from a gameplay standpoint. That's all.
No, they just got to get Evo to get rid of it, and that's it. Like, these guys can start their own tourney if they want, but they're gonna get Evo on the other circuits to drop it. I guarantee it.
You know what happens when you do stuff and that people don't like it, man.
That's fine. Go somewhere else. Play Street Fighter.
Play some real shit.
Yeah.
But I don't see. Here's the thing: is like, can't Evo just have a little corner for those guys? You don't have to make it a big event. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you play over there. You guys play over there. You know.
I think a lot of the Evo isn't that all voted?
It
is.
It is
right?
voted on, but that's the thing. Like, you have to make special accommodations for it now because this GameCube is so old, right? You have to get special equipment to put it on the big screen and all that shit. And nobody's making GameCube
Only
controllers
Nintendo
anymore,
fans
so
would do
refurb
stuff like
shit.
that. You know, it's like everybody's modernized, and these guys are still playing this old ass game. You know, it's like, come on, guys. So
it's like it's why the Darkstalkers games or Marvel vs. Capcom aren't on there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you got to move on, man. Got to move on. Anyway, Brett, get in here. More Smash Brothers impressions.
I mean, it's just pretty much more of the same for the most part, which I'm genuinely pretty happy with. So, I mean, it's not revolutionary. I'm like, cool, more Smash Brothers.
Brett, they did something in that I thought was cool. You could turn stage hazards off now.
Oh, okay, that is nice.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just giving people more options and more.
Yes. So they dial it back because some stages, like the Mario Kart stage, you always have to worry about the racers coming at you and stuff. So you can turn those off, and they won't hit you.
Oh, and also, you know what happened with the last Super Smash Bros., right? They made Amiibo. So does that mean there's probably going to be a Simon Belmont one? And maybe.
Well, they already said they're planning on making Echo Fighter Amiibos already.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll move on.
Bayonetta's still in it, right?
Yeah, she's
everybody.
Yeah, everybody's in it, man. All right, let's move on here, man. So this is interesting. Another one. I think this was the first big thing that happened this week. Everybody got up in arms. Fallout 76 will not launch on Steam. It's going to be on Bethesda's site.
Which is not so good because their service is pretty lousy. You know, there's no refunds. They don't have a lot of things that that are Steamish on there.
So what's their reasoning for that?
I actually don't know.
I feel like it's a ploy to get people to use their silly service. You know what I mean? Kind of like the way Ubisoft and EA wants everybody to use their shit.
You playing shit, but you can't do like strong arm tactics like that. Like Steam's too big. Nobody wants to get other service. This is like the same idea with Hollywood. Like, Warner Brothers wants a streaming service, and these guys, no, guys, you play ball with Netflix. Nobody's gonna splinter off and pay for 50 different services.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I'm looking at this report. It doesn't say any reason why they're doing this. It's just, hey, this is happening now.
It's obvious that they want everybody to move to their fucking service. That's what it is. But it's not everybody. It's only the PC version.
Yeah, obviously. You know.
Oh yeah, that's.
But yeah, Brett, what are your thoughts on this? You're the big Fallout guy here.
It's a bold move. Honestly, I don't think it's a good idea at this point to deviate from Steam. I think splintering the digital marketplace is just going to be bad. And you're seeing this happen across multiple industries. Same with TV shows, everything like that. Like Netflix succeeded so well because it was kind of a one-stop shop where you could go for most of your viewing needs. And since then, a lot of people saw them succeeding and just wanted to put out their own service. And now there's 19 different services, and all your content is strewn out all over all these services. And that doesn't get people to buy into all of this shit because it's now not only, it's not the price is even higher, although that's part of it. It's that the convenience is lower as well. So at that point, that's when you start to see people trying to pirate shit again. So personally, I'm of the mindset of splintering these services is never a good idea, and especially with Steam. And I realize that, that kind of gives a lot of power to Steam, but Steam pretty much consolidated a dying market and breathed life back into it. So it's going to be tough to pull away from them. And I'm not really sure that you really want to be able to. It's worked pretty well over there. So between Steam and GOG, then I think you're pretty well set.
Yeah.
So, bad move.
Yeah. Bruno's asking if it's going to be 100% profit for them. It's got to be, since it's their service, right?
It's their service, right? But to people who's like, there's always going to be someone's first Fallout game, right? People trust Steam reviews or user reviews and stuff. You can't go to the publisher's site who makes a game and get an honest review of the game. You know, they're trying to sell it to you. It's just, I don't know. It's just such a weird decision.
Yeah, this is interesting. Joey says that more and more big third-party publishers are experimenting with not launching their big multiplayer games on Steam. Even Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is not launching on Steam this year. Interesting. Rich, what do you think about that, man?
You said it's not launching on Steam? Call of Duty?
Yeah, not launching on Steam.
Oh, that's interesting. Well,
Fallout, not Call of Duty.
No, Call of Duty. That's what he said right there.
Yeah, Black Ops 4.
So
yeah,
it's Fallout's not going on Steam, and neither is Call of Duty. I didn't know about Call of Duty. That's crazy.
I didn't know either.
Yeah, facts.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm telling. This is why I keep saying Fan of Ash used to be a game journalist. He does more shit than I do. You know, but yeah, Rich, what do you think about all this? Do you think this is going to splinter the fan base, or do you think they're going to suck it up and just go over to the service because they have no other choice?
I think ultimately, you know, in regards to Fallout 76, you know, all the Fallout fans will do whatever. I think Bethesda obviously has to convince people that this is an okay thing, I guess. But I think if you're a Fallout fan, no matter what, you're going to find a way to get that game either on console or on PC.
Yeah, I don't see the PC guys getting a console version, man. You know? I could be wrong though, but you know, who knows? Because I remember these same guys, they were protesting. This was years ago too. It was like with Call of Duty, it's like they're not gonna have dedicated servers, so they're like, we're gonna boycott this game. Then on day one, all those dudes were on fucking Call of Duty, every single one of them. You know, so who knows? Maybe they're gonna blow this service up now. But I can't speak. Brian, what's your thoughts on this, man? As our resident PC gamer here.
I think it's really dumb. It's really dumb because the idea of Steam was exactly what Brett said. Like the big issue with PC gaming back then is that you had so many different services to play games, and then Valve came along and said, "Hey, you know what? We'll create a service where we'll unify everything, and hence you log in once, you play all your games, and it's fine." And then it worked well. It solved the problem, and then now we're getting companies that just want to like splinter off and do their own thing, which I just think is making the problem go back to what the problem was. So it's unsolving the problem, and it's just going to make things worse. I guess Bethesda just doesn't like money that much because like there's no good reason not to launch a game on Steam. Like Steam is where the market share is. Like Steam is, it's kind of like having, a game maker just come out and say like, hey, you know what? Let's make a console game, but then not put it on PS4. It's like, why would you do that? Like PS4 is like where the market share is. Like it's where most of the people play. So why not just put it on that console? Like why not put it in the hands of where the biggest crowd is? It makes no sense. So I don't know. They must have some valid reason. Well, they must have some reason that they think is valid as to why they aren't going to do it. So whatever that is, hopefully it makes sense, because if it doesn't, then oh well. Like, I feel bad for them.
You think this game's gonna bomb?
I don't know. 'Cause again, I've never, because I don't know how well Fallout 4 did, because I know that it got like some mixed reception, but I don't know how well it did sales wise. So maybe people might just say, I don't have much faith in this game, or I'm not too sure. But then again, people have also said that they want a Fallout 4 with friends, so this is that. Who knows? All I know is that the decision to not put on Steam is not good.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think Brian nailed it. You're cutting off market share, and then people who go to Steam to look for games are not going to find. They're not going to know to go to Bethesda, right? And to their whatever they're going to call it, the Bethesda store, some shit. So why would you do that?
Yeah, again, they didn't explain themselves, so, and if they did, please let me know, because yeah, it's weird, you know.
Well, even if they explain themselves, it's probably some suit there like, you know, it's a great idea. We should make our own store. No, that's not a good idea, asshole.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're trying. It's like, hey, we got our all. Are they gonna pull like all their Bethesda games off of Steam? That would be bad.
No, do it. That's a great idea. To the new guy who thought of this, that is perfect. You're brilliant.
Yeah.
Put your name on that. Don't forget, you want them to know who gets the credit for this brilliant idea.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Don Matrick? Just do what he did. Go out on stage and promote that shit to the world. That you are smart.
Oh man. Do you guys have anything else to say about this? Somebody in the chat just gave me the perfect segue.
Do it.
He goes. They're gonna advertise their games on Discord. All right. So for you guys who don't know, Discord is planning to launch its own online game store. Ain't that about a bitch? So yeah, maybe
They're like, hey, since everybody's on here playing games, why don't we sell them some games too?
Why you sound like Riku?
That's not Riku.
Yo, Riku, by the way, you're right over there. May keep cutting in and out, bro.
Yeah, I'm having some internet issues. I don't know if I'm sounding breaky right now.
Nah, you sound all right now. Actually, Riku, why don't you give us your thoughts on this Discord opening up their own version of Steam? I guess
that's really interesting because if there's one thing I wanted for Discord is I've been wanting Discord to try and get more, what's the word I'm looking for? More connected to gaming. And when I heard what Xbox had that little, their little connection with Discord, where if you're on Discord and you connect your Xbox Live account, people can see what Xbox game you're playing on Discord, which when they first announced that they were having something to do with Xbox, everybody thought it was the fact that you can chat with people on Discord with your Xbox Live, which is what it honestly should have been, because, I mean, Discord. Sucks. Yeah, firstly, Skype sucks. Secondly, everybody and their grandma uses Discord now. And I was like, man, that would be awesome if, Sony did something with Discord, probably the next generation, as far as like connecting PSN party chats with Discord, and you can chat all in one chat room. But the fact that they're taking this route I did not see that coming. I didn't see them doing something like that. I wonder how that's going to turn out from a quality standpoint.
Yeah, and apparently they already have THQ Nordic on board. I don't know, but I know, but like we talked about before, it's like Steam has such a big marketplace. I don't know if any other competitor could. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. And
then there's GOG right behind them. It's like, who is the third biggest distribution seller out there? Because I don't really keep up with
CD keys.
Amazon.
Oh man,
distributor of keys or distributor of games,
distribution of digital games, and they have a digital library that you can.
Is it Origin maybe?
I would guess Origin.
Yeah, Origin. Yeah,
that's run by EA. So
Origin doesn't really have a good track record either, though, right?
But you said in terms of big, yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, Discord proves themselves from a quality standpoint. They could be number 3 in there.
Origin.
People always like. Yeah, people always like options. People always like an alternative. We have 3 consoles. I mean, a third one and a third one that actually people can, mess around with. Because, like I said, I heard Origin, and doesn't EA have one? No, EA is Origin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've just been hearing some weird stuff when it comes to Origin. You only can get this on Origin. I've been hearing some spooky stuff when it comes to Origin.
And then there's Uplay, from Ubisoft.
Oh God, Uplay. Yeah. So it all depends on how they go about it, but it is interesting. I did not see them taking that route. I really thought they were just gonna, connect with PlayStation, Nintendo, or Microsoft and get their, chat system connected with theirs. That's what I thought they were going to do, which I still kind of want them to do.
Yeah, it says the reasoning here is because Discord has 150 million registered users, so they figured, hey, why not just, since everybody's on Discord all the time anyway, why don't you play some games on here? Yeah.
Yeah.
I could understand that logic, but, whether it'll be successful, that's a whole other story.
I think from that point, it just depends on quality.
Yeah, Joey says the downside of PC being an open platform is third-party publishers can all launch their own store fronts to avoid Steam 30% cut. They can't do that on the consoles. That's true. Consoles, you're just stuck there, basically, True. But again, you're splintering everybody. It's like you got to get Ubisoft, you got to get EA, you got to get Steam, you got to get fucking Discord. It's like
and then the other thing, it's like
you got to get Bethesda shit now.
Yeah. So you know, now like obviously, you know, people also do care about their little Steam cards and things that they get on there. It's like they can't get into that sort of thing.
Locking people in, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they got me with trophies.
I mean, they got you with them trophies.
That's a fact. It's like I should be gaming on PC, you know, but I like my trophies, man. I'm being real right now.
Yeah. Anytime there's like a PlayStation version of something coming, on top of the fact that I know that the PS4 version is going to be a good version, you know, most of the time, you know, their version runs, you know, well. Unlike, you know, sometimes a Nintendo Switch game is not running well, or something happening on PC, or Xbox getting it like massively late, or whatever the case may be. You know, when it comes to a PS4 version in this generation, it usually runs pretty well, you know. So it's like, with that, you know, I'm looking forward to Hollow Knight. That's a game that's been off on Steam for a while, but you know, I think they're working on a PS4 version right now, and you know, I would rather just wait for that. Even though I wanted to dive in deeper into my Steam library, but it's just like when a game like Hollow Knight that I really want to play, it's on Steam, and it comes to PS4, I know it's not going to have any bad issues, and like I said, trophies. So it's like, yeah, I don't know how Discord is. Discord needs to find their own thing that's going to, you know, bring people in and then lock them down. Because other than their, you know, amazing success with, you know, their chat side of things, I think they need something else. They got to find out what that is.
Here's another point Joey makes. He goes, the same thing is happening on mobile. Epic is not launching Fortnite on Google Play to avoid a 30% cut. They can do that on Android because it is open source, open platform. Yeah, that's right. I think we talked about that too. Fortnite's just like, we're just avoiding Google for Google Play. They're doing their own thing.
But with Steam, like, that seems like a very short-sighted approach, because there's no platform that's going to give you the boost to a user base as large as Steam. So they're like, yeah, we don't want to give Steam 30% for this game. It's like, okay, well then prepare to sell 50% less copies. I don't know how you do your math, but that seems like a loss to me.
Yeah, shout out to the Throwdown crickets too, man. But no, you're right about that. It's like, even if you're getting like 30% deducted, there's still going to be way more than you would be selling on your own. You know what I'm saying? Hollow Knight will come to PS4. Isn't Hollow Knight already on PS4?
No, it's not. You're probably thinking of the millions of other indies. You're probably thinking of Owlboy.
Souls, roguelike.
Oh, no, I checked. It's only on Switch. Yeah.
Really?
No,
It's the Switch and PC.
PC, yes.
Then what is the game I'm confusing for? Have you played it? Thank you. There you go. That's what I'm confusing it with. All these fucking games seem the same.
What they got it confused with?
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight. Oh.
Yeah. Yes, Brian. Yes, Brian. Yes, Brian. Yes, Brian. Yes, Brian.
First, I'd like to point that out for like our ongoing battle of like games coming out on which platform first. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like PC first.
Yeah, it did come out on PC first.
Recently. Dead Cells came out on PC first too. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Hollow Knight, just like, only reason I even know about it is because of the fact that when it came to Nintendo Switch, you know, the second thing it came to, it blew up. You know how those Nintendo guys go, "Oh my god, this game is fucking amazing!" I said that shit with fucking, I said that shit with fucking E8, and I'm like, E8 is amazing. Crickets, you know, the freaking Throwdown crickets, and then fucking, you know, it comes to Nintendo Switch, and I was like, "Oh my god, amazing game! Yo, this might be better than Xenoblade." I'm like, "Yo, what the?" Whatever, you know, getting after that, that's all I care about.
Yo, the other day, Carlos hit me up. I was like, "Yo, why are they talking about Chancleta again?" I'm like, "Because it's on Switch, man."
It's on Switch, man. So that's the only reason I even know about Hollow Knight, is because those Nintendo guys, man, they hyped it up. I think it's like at a 90 something on Metacritic for the Nintendo Switch version of Hollow Knight, even though the PC version is better. You know, but you can play it on the go. Point is, Hollow Knight is getting a lot of fucking popularity because of it. So that's why I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, PS4 version is probably coming," and you know, they want that Hollow Knight people want that money. So
I'm gonna ask a potentially stupid question, but I'm gonna do it. What is the difference between Hollow Knight and Shovel Knight?
Shovel Knight's not a roguelike.
One has a shovel, Tony.
Game.
Isn't? I thought they were both roguelikes.
Shovel Knight is fucking essentially like Mega Man.
Yeah, the stages are all pre-made, you know?
Oh, okay. That's different then. Because I thought it was like a roguelike permadeath.
No, man.
Nonsense.
Yeah, look up some gameplay of Hollow Knight later, dude.
Yeah,
Looks-
Shovel Knight is like something you would be more into playing than Hollow Knight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he would.
Gotcha.
Hollow Knight's more on the hard Souls like side of
It's
2D platforming
like
games that have been
2D
coming out. Yeah,
Let's say
it
that.
is.
Well,
Mhm.
how
I mean,
do
but that's Gambit is coming out for PC and PS4, and that looks like a fucking.
But when it comes to Switch, forget about it. It's gonna be the most hyped thing ever, son. Anyway, Brian, what were you gonna say, man?
No, I was saying that it was that Hollow Knight is like 2D Souls. It's like have a very compact comparison.
And then you see a lot of those have been coming out lately. Also, Chasm, Dead Cells.
Chasm. By the way, can I?
Salt and Sanctuary.
This is the thing I wanted to say. Like when I, cause I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention to fucking Dead Cells. So when all this controversy happened, I was like, okay, so it's a permadeath, Metroidvania, Dark Souls, procedure generated. You basically just told me things that stay away from this game. Like you just named 4 things I don't like.
You do like Metroidvania.
No, I'm sick of those. I've played too many of those fucking games.
Yo, man, you were playing the Metroidvania with Mega Man.
No, that's not a Metroidvania. What are you talking about?
It wrong, though. It strikes a perfect and engaging balance between the Metroidvania.
Yeah,
you're gonna be playing a Igavania when you play Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Yeah, but that's different though. You know,
what's different?
Yeah, this is by Iga. That's why it's like you know how I'm like kind of tired of like open world games, but Red Dead I'm hyped as a motherfucker. You know, but it's the same thing. Metroidvania, you already know me. I love that stuff. But after playing 10 or million of those games, you kind of get a little tired. It's like every indie game's a Metroidvania game. Really, every indie game's Dark Souls. Every indie game's permadeath. Come on, man.
It's the new trend, man, Tony. Man, it's
tired
the new
of that
trend.
shit. You know,
it's the new trend.
And then procedure generated. This is gonna start a fucking argument right there.
It's because
I'm gonna say it, man. I think procedure generated anything is lazy. Like if you're not doing that shit yourself, I'm sorry, man. You're just letting the computer do it for you.
Tony.
Yeah, screw you, Little Big Planet.
Yeah,
that's not procedurally.
That's not procedure generated.
Brian triggered Majoma. Let's go.
No, but it's lazy.
No. Here's a fact, Tony. Do you know the environments in Horizon Zero Dawn? Most of the placements were actually procedurally generated.
You shut your whore mouth.
Really? Because when I go there, it's always the same shit.
Yes,
you know?
it's based on see, Tony. See, this is where the understanding comes out. Procedurally generated doesn't mean that it's like random. It means that there's some sort of algorithm behind it. So there's some sort of reasoning as to why things are.
Okay, so let me explain it. The way I understand it is when you go procedure generated, is when you go back to the level, it is completely different than it was before.
Well, that's randomly generated.
So and last time I checked, the environments in Horizon stay exactly the same every time you go in.
They can procedurally generate something once and say that's the world and save it.
No, I understand that, but you can't. But my point still stands. That is still kind of lazy. Instead of you doing it by hand, you know what I'm saying?
Well, if you have a giant open world, you're gonna have to do a bit of it as procedurally as possible. You can't.
That's not necessarily.
You can't totally art direct everything. There is a fair point of procedural portions of it.
Yeah,
that assist an artist in making these things. Horizon Zero Dawn did use procedural aspects, but they also had shaders in place that would allow certain things to happen. Automatically, like certain plants can't grow near the water. When there's a forest, certain plants don't grow in the forest. When you put a rock in the middle of a stream, the stream flows around it. Those aspects are procedural.
Well, and like destructible environments are as well. It's like pretty much anything that's not Cuphead is procedurally generated pretty much.
Yeah, but the thing is, when I go play Mega Man, it's always the same levels. They're not changing. That's my point. You know.
I want to say something about Hollow Knight, by the way. Hollow Knight isn't randomly generated, by the way. All of their levels are set in stone. But yeah, a lot of the other games like Chasm are following that trend of randomly generated by, like Brian said, an algorithm that just make sure that randomly generated world isn't fucking trash. But yeah, this is the new trend, man. They're basically taking, like what me and Tony were talking about on that Mega Man stream, the 16-bit sprite era, the trend of the Souls-like games. They're basically trying to take all of the trends and make it, its own trending genre right now, and that's what's going on. This upcoming month is Gonna get like what, 4 of them? It's insane. But I don't. Do I see this dying down? Yeah, like every other trend. But I would definitely say it's at its all-time high right now.
Yeah, you think? Hey, Riku, you think Switch is giving it a new lease on life?
Oh yeah, because you know, when you see these type of games, even with myself, I don't know if anyone else does it. I actually do know a decent amount of people that say this also. When they see those type of games, the first thing that they say is, "Man, I would love to play that type of game on the go." You know, I said that about
Brett's
Rogue
ears just
Legacy.
perked up.
when Rogue Legacy came out, and I saw that, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna tear this game apart on my Vita," you know, and I did. So, you know, with all of these games coming out, that's why, you know, when Hollow Knight came to Nintendo Switch, it blew up. Same thing with you know, all those other ones. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, Rogue Legacy was a shitty Star Wars movie, man.
Not
Being a troll right now.
Dang.
All right, man. Anything
That's
else?
Rogue One.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know I'm fucking around. Oh, anything else you guys want to talk about with Discord and online stores and all that shit?
Discord is cool.
Yeah. All right, man.
I mean, I don't know. I think they're putting themselves in a position that may not be that great. I mean, officially, I'm sure Discord obviously probably doesn't make any specific money. They probably have like investors or ads revenue that they run through. But you know, this obviously is a way to try to get to actually make some money. I think, but I think it's kind of a difficult space to be in.
Actually, I got one last quick question. Brian,
Why is it?
What's up?
when was Hollow Knight released on PC?
I don't know. Give me a second. I'll find out.
All right. The reason I'm asking is because in my mind this shit's been out for ages, but that's probably because I've been confusing it for Shovel Knight.
Oh, it's been out for
I think
3
Hollow
years.
Knight has been out for about at least a year now.
Over a year. It came out February 2017.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, because I've been hearing again. I'm like, have I been hearing about this game, or have I just been confusing it for Shovel Knight? I must have just been hearing about this game then, Hollow Knight.
You
But
may
it's
have been
the guy
hearing
with the
about-
helmet, right? With the little Viking helmet,
Yeah.
dude. Okay,
Yep.
okay. So I
Well,
am. And
Shovel Knight is the
damn it, I'm getting them confused.
Yeah, you were thinking about Shovel Knight, but the Hollow Knight dude, he wears like a skull helmet.
A skull helmet. So it's
and
would
not,
have like a
one
skull
is
helmet
and
and
one is pixel art and one is more drawn-ish.
Yeah, more like Flash.
which one is
Flash.
the Flash one? Which one is the pixel art?
Hollow
Pixel
Knight
art.
is oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Manny.
Hollow Knight is the one that's drawn like Flash animation. Shovel Knight is the one with the that's pixel art that looks like a Mega Man game or something.
Gotcha.
You were definitely
Interesting.
thinking about Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I probably was. That's why I'm all fucked up right now.
That's the one with Shovel Knight's the one with Kratos in it.
Yeah,
PlayStation.
on the PS4.
All right. I don't know.
He's like, yeah, whatever.
No, it's not whatever. It's just like, oh, I didn't know that. Because again,
Also another thing we kind of did talk about, but
man, you know me. If I'm not interested in it, that shit goes out the door, man.
for the time.
Yeah, my
When Bison
my memory stores are very limited. You know, I ain't got time for
No, man, you
bullshit.
gotta get an upgrade, just like Johnny Mnemonic.
Right.
Hey,
Hey kids, remember Johnny Mnemonic?
No, they don't.
Oh man! All right, so we'll move on to the last story here, and I actually wanted Riku on here because he was very passionate about this. But
Passionate.
it's crazy, man. So okay, it was a couple weeks ago. We talked about how Nintendo was cracking down on a couple of big, emulator sites, right? ROM sites, right? Now the biggest one of them all, EmuParadise, who's been around for 2 decades, they decided, you know what? We don't want to deal with this shit, so they just pulled the plug. You know, the site is still there, but they pulled all the ROMs down, man. Pretty insane shit. Now people have to go to like other sites that could be a little bit questionable. Because I think with EmuParadise, you were safe going there for the most part. I have some thoughts on this, but I want to get your thoughts first. Riku, what do you have to say about this?
This is definitely like a debatable blow when it comes to what everyone's talking about and on Twitter and in the zeitgeist right now as far as games being preserved. So it's real touchy because a lot of games out there that don't have, they most likely are never going to get remastered. They're going to get lost in time if this continues down the possible road that Nintendo wants it to go down. So, I mean, for someone like me who If you didn't know, I done hacked my motherfucking reader, baby. So I've been playing a lot of classic games
Motherfucking
lately.
Rita.
Yeah, I've been diving into some classic
Right.
games that I just didn't get a chance to play when I was young, and I probably could find them on eBay. I probably can't find them on eBay, but the point is, a lot of people are definitely going to take some sort of blow when it comes to that. I know a lot of people that said, "Oh yeah, I just went to EmuParadise a couple days ago and grabbed something." Well, can't go there now because they don't have nothing. Like at first, it was just they took down their Nintendo stuff because Nintendo was coming after them. Now they took down everything. Doesn't even matter. It could be PlayStation, Sega. They took them all down. They said the only thing they keeping up right now is their actual emulators. So it's real interesting when it comes to that. I have a decent amount of alternatives, but yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like EmuParadise wasn't one that I used. Also, it definitely was.
Yeah, I frequented that site a lot. I'll just leave it at that. But you touched on what I wanted to talk about. It's like, I know there's legal weirdness going on with like these type of ROMs, but at the same time they do preserve a lot of these games. A lot of these games, the official companies aren't putting them out. The only way you can play them is through this means. So it's kind of shitty that the biggest site out there is no longer making these games available. Obviously, you can still get them through other ways and stuff, but to me, that's how I saw it. And a lot of articles are being written about this too. How it's like, yeah, this is game preservation for the most part, and now you're gonna have less of it, because of all this craziness going on. But yeah, go ahead.
It's one thing funny that a couple of people pointed out the fact that you remember I can't remember what game it was Nintendo did it for, but I guess they lost the original information for that game, and they actually went to EmuParadise and grabbed
That's
the
right.
ROM of the game that they created off of it. And everyone, the reason people found out because they looked into the source code and saw that it was not the original version of ROM. And all Nintendo said was, well, it's our game to begin with. That's not the point. The point is, what happened to the motherfucking original game, Nintendo? This is the main reason why people are like all up in arms right now about preservation of games, because like, remember, what was the game that you kept talking about? Panzer Dragoon?
Panzer Dragoon. Basically, Panzer Dragoon Saga. Basically, a lot of those Saturn games, man,
Yeah.
you can't get them any other way. I mean, and the thing is, that's a whole other story. I was just going to talk about how emulation is not good for Sega Saturn. But you're right. Like, Sega lost the fucking source code for that shit, for Panzer Dragoon Saga. They lost the source code. What if one of these guys preserved it? That's preserving history right there.
Yeah.
But but again, I understand where these companies are coming from, but at the same time, they need to understand it's like, guys, they're preserving your games. Don't you think that's more important? You know what I'm saying? You're not making any money off of them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if people want it, especially if they don't
want
have
to make money off of it.
Yeah, they don't want to make money, honestly.
No, they do. They do want to make money off of it because of these. Everyone's like, okay, why'd you do this now, Nintendo? Well, it's mostly because how well the SNES and NES Classic have been doing. And those classic games. Everyone's like, oh, why would I want to get a SNES Classic when I just get all the ROMs? So Nintendo definitely sees the market for those old games. And then the whole virtual console thing, that's another thing that Switch users are waiting for. But then the ROM is also an alternative that they want to shut down. But like I said, the only reason I brought you up in Panzer Dragoon were companies that don't really care about bringing those games back, and the source code is kind of lost in time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just that's a real iffy as far as those type of games out there. So I understand where Nintendo's coming from, but you could get. Yeah, does anybody else have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Especially Chris, you get in here, man, because I know we talked about this sort of stuff before.
Well, I'm definitely disappointed that EmuParadise took that route. I think Nintendo is like it's basically toothless. They'll go after you because they have money and lawyers, but anyone who fights back against them, they'll back off. So I think the game preservation argument could have worked in a legal sense had anyone been able to fight them, right? They didn't. But historical precedent for this is that Nintendo at one point tried to sue Blockbuster, and actually lobbied for a law in the United States to end video game rentals. Back in the 90s.
Which they succeeded in doing that in Japan.
Yes,
By the way.
Nintendo got that in Japan, so you couldn't rent video games, and they wanted it here. But that failed. The law failed. The lawsuit failed. Blockbuster actually won, and so they have a history of doing this, right? So this is the next step, but this is more in a gray area than video game rentals. Video game rentals was very good for the industry, and it was through proper companies. And Blockbuster had the resources to fight Nintendo at that point, and kill the law and lobby against it and do all this stuff. Guys who run EmuParadise, they don't have any money or retainers to fight against this, so they'd rather avoid a confrontation. But I think this is important enough of a thing for somebody to take up this cause and fight back, because don't let Nintendo control this thing, because they are not going to provide you with a full library of classic games. Most of these games are difficult to impossible to get physically anymore.
Yeah.
And so the only option for many people who can't afford to do, like, even I don't do it that much. Like, I do what I can is collecting classic games, and a lot of people can't afford that, and people can't afford to go run around wait for a SNES Classic or whatever. Curated to what Nintendo wants to give you. They want to have the freedom to get whatever they want in the catalog of whatever system it is. And now that's gone. Like, I can download a TurboGrafx 16 emulator, get those games. Nintendo's not providing anyone that. So to take it away from everyone as an option, I think is a dick move. They only want to protect their resources, but they've done this in the past, and I wish there was somebody who could fight them on this and get them to stop, because that's the only way they're going to stop.
Nintendo's always been. I mean, this isn't. Nobody's surprised that it's Nintendo out of any video game company that's like throwing down the laws and trying to regulate stuff. They've been doing that since in their inception, with the whole Nintendo seal of what was this, Nintendo seal of approval and all of that stuff. When they've always been trying to throw down the iron fist of locking down everything, making sure they have control of everything. So I mean, I'm not taking anything away from them, because like I said, from a business standpoint, they got to do what they got to do. But there's other stuff that there's when it comes to this, it's definitely a double-edged sword, so
yeah, man, it's crazy. But I wonder if there's going to be like another site that's going to pop up to replace. But I don't think there will be for a while. I think everybody's scared of Nintendo right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of alternatives, but none of them were as big as EmuParadise. So it's like, what they do next, it really depends. Because one of them is obviously going to be the new number one.
Yeah, somebody has to come fill the void. It's just, who is it going to be, and are they going to be as reliable and easy to use as EmuParadise?
Yeah, when we were in our group chat, you see, Big Box asked me, "Oh, what alternatives do you know of?" And I gave him about like 5 or 6, and the 5 or 6 that I gave him, they all are pretty good in comparison to EmuParadise. So there's a decent amount of alternatives out there that are just as easy to use, but they're just not as popular right now. And that their popularity is definitely going to rise now that everyone that used to use EmuParadise starts going to those sites. They're going to rise, and Nintendo's going to go after them. And yeah, it's just the cycle is.
The thing is, obviously, it's all just a little scare tactic. They throw down the gavel to say, "Hey."
You saw what they said when they came to that. When they said, for EmuParadise, for every Nintendo game that you have up on our site, we want you guys to pay $150,000 for every Nintendo game that you had up here, man. And for every Nintendo IP that you had up there, it was like another 200,000. So 200,000 for Mario, and then 150 for every Mario game that you have up there. Same thing goes for Zelda and every other first-party Nintendo game.
And see, that's the problem. Like, we know that's ridiculous, but you need a good lawyer or multiple lawyers to go up against them and say, you need to prove that these ROMs are devaluing your IP by that much per ROM, right?
Yeah.
and devalue. So you would need somebody to fight against that, and that's the problem. So I don't know. I don't know if any billionaires are listening. Maybe Elon Musk wants to save classic gaming. If you're listening to the show, man, EmuParadise could use your help.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree. Because again, I to me, it's about game preservation.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with that too.
Yeah, man.
But obviously, like any other company, they want to collect a little bit off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like anything else. That's what that's what happened with them in Blockbuster. They wanted to catch a little bit of that change off it, and if they could, then they would do. Then they wouldn't be complaining about it. If every single one of those ROMs on there, and which is what they're doing, $100 per thing, they want to catch a little bit of that a shine that they had, a little of that money, because they see it as revenue that they're not earning. It's kind of like. It's kind of like it's like the used game market, if you think about it, where it's like, as opposed to it being like a finite versions of those games, it's like, okay, you have a bunch of used games, and these game companies are not making any money off of the sales of these old ass games.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the fact that when it comes to not even Nintendo, Sony and Microsoft also, in the past 2 generations or so, they really haven't been taking good care of the games that they've made all the way up to this point, as far as like backwards compatibility, archiving it and putting it on some sort of virtual console. I would say out of the 3, probably PlayStation has been doing the best, but it's still not, up to snuff. All of their stuff isn't on there. There's times I go to the PlayStation Store to try and find a PS1 Classic, and it's just not there. And licensing, all that other stuff, but the point still stands. Like, if they don't have it up on here and someone wants to play it, and they don't want to go out and buy a fucking PlayStation 1 and a used copy of whatever the fuck game that they wanted for $150 for some asshole on eBay, that seems to be their only option if they want to play that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like I said, double-edged sword, and it's a real sharp one.
Yeah, indeed, man. Any other thoughts on this, guys? All right, actually, we did it. We did it under 2 hours. I thought we were going to go a little over, but we're professionals around here, All right, man. Rich, I want to thank you for being on tonight, man. With sharing your thoughts and all that. Tell people where they can find you and what's coming up next for the coalition, man.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on as well. Yes, I'm on Twitter at Rich Bailey Jr. As for what's coming up with the coalition, we actually are doing a giveaway right now on the website for Shenmue 1 and 2. All you have to do is go to the website, fill out the form, and you are randomly entered in for a chance to win. That giveaway will be ending on August 20th. And if you are a Patreon supporter, well, we're actually giving away another game for that particular for those particular subscribers, a little game called Spider-Man. So I definitely would encourage you to support us on Patreon for as little as $1 for a chance to get your hands on Spider-Man.
I think I've heard of that game.
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, just some little game made by some company called Marvel. So
yeah. Just to clarify, so for $1, you get a chance to win Spider-Man.
That is correct.
Wow.
100%.
That's a hell of a deal. People, get on that Patreon, Crazy.
Absolutely.
And obviously, yeah, man.
Y'all know if this were a raffle, you put a ticket in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. And then obviously, co-op is coming back tomorrow night or tonight, for you listening on Friday,
Yeah, we will be back later on today. Gary and I have a lot to discuss because we haven't done a show in at least the last week and a half. So looking forward to that. Definitely stay tuned for that, as well as WrestleCast, because I hear Adam is returning back in town tomorrow. So
so
Adam, so Adam will be back on Throwdown, I'm pretty sure, on Sunday. But yeah, he'll be back in his hometown tomorrow, is what he told me. So stay tuned.
Yeah, Adam had to deal with some bullshit traveling too, man. Damn, man. All right.
Good thing he had a place to stay.
Yeah, and Riku, man, let the people know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, man. Riku-san1 on the Twitters, man. People follow me on Twitter, and I'll see if I can make it to the war zone tomorrow. So we'll talk with we'll talk with Torrance Davis about the whole emulation thing. Because if you listen to last week's episode of the war zone, we dived into the whole Vita getting hacked last month. So the whole Vita community has been going deep into some classic games. So if anybody's kind of salty right now, it's the Vita people, because they're like, yeah, we just hacked our Vitas. We got all these classic games, and then EmuParadise just dies. Like, motherfucker.
Damn.
So me and Torrance are going to be, we most likely are going to be chopping it up tomorrow. So stay tuned, people.
Batman, motherfucker.
Batman, motherfucker.
Oh man. All right, guys, so thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Mixer, Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys. Don't forget to watch Lucha Underground.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
Take it easy, party people.
Brian Manjoma.
Good night, everybody.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Talk to you all later.
Enrico Sun 1.
Hey, man, people. EmuParadise might be currently dead right now, but the feed is still alive and kicking, baby. Peace out.
Vita's life, man.
Vita's life.
Vita's life.
Vita's life. Vita's life. All right, guys. We'll see you on Sunday, man. Later.
Peace.
Deuces.
Laters.